Good morning, Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. I'm still having problems streaming, so this is the first time that I've actually recorded a show while it hasn't been going out, because obviously I actually last night in the early hours of the morning, I've been back in touch with Facebook again to see if I can get this block lifted at the moment. So fingers crossed, maybe something might come of it today. First of all, could I just thank Amanda for her concise weather forecast? It is really hot today. It's sunny and hot. We're actually in orange alert at the moment regards temperatures. Temperatures, she says today, going to be 35 degrees, although they're going to feel like 36. But there is a heat wave that is definitely on the way, and that heat wave, according to the National Meteorology Office here in Greece, says that this heat wave is going to skyrocket starting from today. They reckon temperatures between 43 degrees in some parts of Greece. And even though they said we've had many heat waves in Greece, this heat wave is going to be comparable to the 1987 deadly heat wave. I remember I was in Cyprus at the time when this heat wave was affecting there as well. And they couldn't bury the dead, I remember, at that time. So anyway, the Ionian is going to be badly affected, it sounds. Temperatures 35 to 36 degrees Celsius. They're going to be expected over the next few days here in the Ionian, Zakynthos in particular. Also, as well, be aware that the fire department is offering, again, another warning. Be careful of fires, careful cigarette ends, all of that stuff as well. And also the health people are giving tips as well. Make sure you stay hydrated. Be careful with the alcohol, because the alcohol does have a tendency to, what's the basically word, dehydrate you, believe it or not. Even though you're drinking lots, the alcohol element can dehydrate you. So mates, again, they're warning people to stay hydrated, also to stay out the sun, put your sunblock on as well, and basically protect yourselves from the excesses of the heat. I've just realized I haven't put together the flight arrivals for today. Jane is at the airport, so I do apologize for that, but I am desperate to get the podcast done and get back to Magdalena's this morning. Last night, what a night last night we had in Magdalena's. We had planned to do the Northern Soul show live. Unfortunately, the demographic that we had in last night, it wasn't really the appropriate music, basically to keep the majority of our customers interested and engaged. And to be honest, I decided, no, I daren't risk playing Northern Soul. As much as I love it, there just wasn't the right demographic in to make a success of that night. So I'm going in this morning and I'm going to basically record the show as if I was in the studio, but in Magdalena's this morning. So if you want to come down and hear some Northern Soul while you're having your breakfast, then by all means, please come down and see us and come and say hello. And if you've got a tune that you want to hear, let me know. And luckily, last night, I did put appeals out to people. If you've come for the Northern Soul, come and see me. But nobody came to see me. But the demographic we had in last night, we were very, very pleasantly surprised. We had mainly young girls, sort of, in their late teens, 20s, from all over Europe, from Poland, from Hungary, from Czech Republic. We only had 2 English girls in yesterday, which is quite funny. But all in all, a lot of Dutch as well. A great night. Absolutely loved it. And thank you for the compliments on the music as well last night as well. Greatly appreciated. And we could have done a dance anthems last night, basically, show, rather than trying to do a Northern Soul show. But that's by the by. Right, I've got to go down, do the stats for today. Things are not looking good at the moment, the epidemiology for Greece in general. The numbers are going up again. 1,553 cases was reported yesterday. Now, today, 2,070. 13 new cases identified at entries into the country. That was up on the day before. Now, when it comes to the numbers on the doors for locations that are of interest to us here, those numbers are also up and down, shall we say. Mykonos down 16. Rhodes is up 51. Steve Kimball asked me to keep an eye on that for him. Lefkada, those numbers again, incredible number for Lefkada, 12. Corfu at 21. No numbers for Kefalonia yesterday. Didn't see anything on the stats for them. However, Zakynthos, another 22 cases here on the island. That brings our epidemiology since the beginning of the year to 693 cases of COVID here on the island. And for this month alone, we have had 191 cases for the month of July. When you consider we only had 7 cases in June, and the month before that in May we had 44, and the month before that, which was April, we had 177, and then in March we had 184. So we've gone past the number from March. So again, going to be looking very, very closely now as to how that is going to play out for us in the realms of tourism, and specifically international tourism. When it comes to deaths across Greece, that's dropped just slightly. We had 8 deaths reported the other day. Today, it's 5 deaths. That brings the total now to 12,903. Again, 96% of those people had underlying health problems or were over the age of 70. And once again, our condolences to those people that have been affected. When it comes to critical cases in ICUs, that is now on the rise, and it is up quite a little bit actually from the day before. We had 134 cases in ICUs across the country. That number has risen up to 147, of which 87 are male and 6 female. So again, the epidemiology for Greece is not looking good. And in today's news, front page story in most of the local press here is that Greece is in the red with the Czech Republic. Now, let's make this clear. Greece is in the red with the Czech Republic. Let's read the whole story and not just read the headline, which is Greece is in the red, all right, because that is not the whole story. Right, so at the moment, the Czech Republic has put Greece into the red. This is because obviously the continuing increase in the epidemiology island, but it's also going to have direct consequences on tourism here with the Czech Republic. As of yesterday, the Czech Republic decided to clarify Greece in red, and this means a 5-day quarantine from people from the Czech Republic. They've got to do 2 tests as well, an antigen test and a PCR for the unvaccinated or those who do not get sick. That's the wording as it is described basically in the local press. So basically now it looks like we might see a drop-off of people coming from the Czech Republic. Again, we can't afford to see drop-offs from whatever nation. And to be honest, we have quite a few people in Magdalenas from the Czech Republic, from Prague, those locations. And they've been pretty good, actually, to be quite honest. As far as I can remember, the Czech Republic still is using the euro. So therefore, obviously, there's no issues about exchange of money, etc., etc. So again, that's the first country now that has put Greece into the red, and we're just going to hopefully, fingers crossed, that not everybody's going to start to follow. Now, interestingly, national story at the moment, tourism traffic to date in Greece remains far above last year's levels and is projected to continue so despite the recent surges in the coronavirus. Now, speaking to the international media, the Prime Minister's chief financial advisor, Alex Petas, recently noted that arrivals have skyrocketed by 130% from last year, though the record year of 2019 by 40%. So obviously we're up on last year, but nowhere near 2019, which was an exceptional year. It is reminded that the original target set for a 100% increase from 2020 to about half the visitors recorded in 2019. Now, Peters was talking to Bloomberg Television that the season remains overshadowed by uncertainty as the Delta strain keeps expanding in Europe, triggering a new set of rules and restrictions, such as flagging of countries according to risk. Now, according to the Tourism Ministry, the Greek Tourism Ministry data, June 2021 posted an increase of 40% to 50% compared to July 2020, which was the first month of a full reopening of tourism after the spring lockdown. This year, German visitors remain on top, with the French in second place, the Polish at a close third. Visitors from Poland have been the surprise for the second consecutive year for Greece. So basically, it's the Polish now, I know here on this island, who are basically, normal times, the British were the top and the Polish were coming in as the number two. And I would think that demographic for here is going to be turning, where the Brits are going to be way down on the list in comparison to Poland. Anyway, what Greece crucially needs to avoid is a repetition, they say, of 2020, when the season practically ended as early as the start of September due to a second wave of the pandemic. Now, the case of Mykonos, where huge surge of coronaviruses brought local restrictions, including the nighttime curfew, has served as a warning for many other destinations around the country and highlighted the importance of having adequate number of quarantine facilities to accommodate those requiring isolation. The Tourism Minister, Haristakis, spoke in Parliament, the Greek Parliament, about this matter last week, noting that the quarantine hotels will increase as long as cases increase. Now, for those people who've been asking about the quarantine hotel here, I've had no more information as to how that is faring at the moment, because obviously our epidemiology has been on the rise. The last report we had from the quarantine hotel was that there was 42 people in that hotel. But other than that, we've not had any update at all as to whether they're coping, whether they are running out of space down there. Because don't forget, it's not only the people that test positive that get sent there, it's also anybody that they've in the company of, as in their direct group. So if you're a father who gets tested positive and you've got children and a wife, then obviously all of the family is going to be sent to the quarantine hotel down in Kerry. And a nice little place it is as well, okay, despite the fact that it is the quarantine hotel. It's certainly a lot better than being a travel lodge on the outskirts of Gatwick, being charged £1,900 a week per person to stay there, having your food pushed under the door by overzealous security. Anyway, in this context, the ministry has once again invited the expression of interest by hoteliers for leasing of accommodation so as to cover the extraordinary public health needs associated with tackling the pandemic. So once again, they're appealing to any hotel owners. I'm not sure about this island, whether there's appeals going out, but if you've got a hotel and you're not as busy as what you like to be, one thing is for sure, you'll definitely get your money from the government, unlike last year, where certain holiday companies left the island without fully paying what they owed for what of the season that they had. So again, you might want to look into that, all right? Anyway, the invitation at the moment, a little bit more detail on that, is for 370 rooms on several Greek islands, with the focus on Paros and Crete. The ministry will lease up to 30 rooms each in Heraklion, Hania and Arithmos on Crete, plus another 130 in Poros. It's also invited interest for up to 30 rooms each on Mykonos and Naxos, and up to 40 rooms on Corfu, and up to 25 rooms on Skliopos and Elonis, where the turtle was murdered the other day. And thank you for those people's comments about the murdered turtle as well from the other day. However, if you're into yachting and you're into boats, the message at the moment regards Zakynthos. They've had their best time all ever for yachting. It seems June 2021 was an absolute renaissance for yachting here on the island of Zakynthos. Petros Kypros, the owner of VIP Tourism Office Ilsa Travel, said yachting has had a very large development in the future of tourism. This June was the best of all time for yachting in Zakynthos, and July is going very well. Every year we have an increase in yachting, and this year the same is true compared to last year, but also from the year 2019, a year which we often refer to and make comparison to because we had a very, very large increase in traffic in that year. It's a safe way to travel and go on your vacation, he says. What we are constantly pointing out is that we need facilities and help. Now, the port was built and it has been had a lot of work done to it. And immediately after the work had been completed, they got a lot of bookings for berthing there in the actual port itself. So all the work that's been done, putting in electrical power hookups and water hookups and all the other things that yachts require when they park up, is already paying off for the island. And I do know from friends, Zakynthos is probably one of the cheapest places if you have a yacht to come and berth here in comparison to a lot of other islands. And that's why we're seeing a lot more yachts when you go into town as well. Anyway, according to the gentleman, he says, fortunately, the port fund is by our side and we've made great strides in the development of yachting. We want help from the municipality and the region, basically in regards to cleaning. It seems that they need more to be done in the way of just picking the rubbish up, taking stuff away, and it needs to be collected not just once a day, but maybe twice a day. So again, just a minor thing where the municipality, which is their responsibility for rubbish collection and everything else, just basically just get the rubbish people down there just a bit more often than normal. Because again, it's all about first impressions with people on yachts. You'd be surprised who comes in on yachts here to the island. I had a friend of ours, Jane and I, she was a masseur, and she got a message about could she do a massage for somebody, be down at the port at a certain time, a tender will come and collect you. And she thought at first it was probably a bit of a wind up, but she turned up waiting, tender turned up, got into the tender, the boat took her away out to a yacht, and guess who was on board? Yes, it was David Beckham and Tom Hanks. So she said, I gave David Beckham and Tom Hanks a massage, and she says, I was shaking. I couldn't believe it. It was so surreal. So again, you never know who is in these yachts traveling about, and they do like to come and visit Zakynthos quietly, shall we say. Look, Magic Johnson turned up the other week, remember. Right, anyway, another bit of a serious story. Hospital employees are reacting to the government's decision to make vaccination against COVID-19 mandatory for health and care workers. And there's a protest rally today at 11 o'clock, which is happening across the country. The rally is going to be, the main rally is in front of the Health Ministry. And this is being backed by the Federation of Greek Hospital Doctors. It's the doctors backing this one. Which will seek a meeting with the minister, warning that if the measure is not retracted, protests will escalate after the mid-August summer break. Anyway, the Panhellenic Federation of Hospital Workers, that's the PODIN, they said last week it will take all available legal recourses to reverse the decision, which mandates that staff at hospitals and care homes be placed on unpaid leave if they refuse to be vaccinated. And please, I know I sound like I'm banging a drum here. It is the principle of the matter that is at stake. If you wish to be vaccinated, that is your choice, your decision. But for the government to turn round and enforce vaccination on you, whether you want it or not, and I spoke to somebody else yesterday in the UK who phoned me up and said, I've got a son who suffers from a very rare blood disorder, and he knows that taking aspirin will kill him. Taking a vaccine is probably going to kill him as well. So he's refusing in the UK to have the vaccine. Also as well, there are people medically who can't have it for whatever reason, or it is a danger for them to have the vaccine. And I think this kind of overriding everything else, roughshod attitude from the Greek government that vaccination, vaccination, vaccination is the way forward. I would say this: it may be the way forward for some people, but not for everybody. And for the expense of your public freedom and your civil liberty, it is still your choice whether you are vaccinated or not. Okay, I'm going to leave that one there. Interestingly, another little story that just got released in the local press here. It seems that last Friday, a Jet2 flight was cancelled or delayed due to a pilot becoming ill. He said there was a great concern that the pilot had actually contracted the coronavirus or something else, but the doubts were dispelled after an examination at the hospital where a test showed that he was obviously negative for COVID. The passengers on the flight to Manchester left with another aircraft, while in Zakynthos another crew arrived to take the plane and make its departure, but they left without the captain. I think he might be in hospital or somewhere waiting to get better. So if your flight was delayed on Friday, that was the reason the pilot had got ill. Also, interestingly as well, just be aware the police are still out checking, making sure that people are abiding by the rules in regards to social distancing and compliance to the COVID safety protocols. Across the country, there was a total, get this, 541,018 inspections were conducted, and out of that number, they actually found 6,004 violations. So, to be honest, when you look at that amount of inspections and the amount of violations that were actually booked, the number is not as extreme as what you'd expect it to be. They said that the bulk of the inspections were conducted by the Hellenic police, who did most of the checks, and they did 329,662 checks across the country. Once again, please, 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 we've had issues again with people not respecting the rules, getting the ump when they come in, when we're telling them we need to prove that you are vaccinated before you can come upstairs into our internal area. And some of the attitude of people, it's not us, all right? It is the government. Dennis and I were discussing this last night. We had a few, and to be honest, I'm going to hate to say this, it's Brits. It's the British attitude, not any other nation, but Britain. Yeah, just because you're double vaccinated, we're having difficulties with the NHS app that is given to you. If you can get your document actually printed out to say that you've been double vaccinated, that would be absolutely fantastic. Trust me. We're having all sorts of issues with the Greek app that is running, again, as a checkup thing. And again, we cannot afford for the police to come in and catch somebody in our vaccinated area, our clean area, who's not vaccinated, because we just don't want the fine, and we certainly don't want the 7-day shutdown as well. So please, please be understanding. By all means, sit downstairs in the area down there. In fact, what we want people that are vaccinated to come upstairs and come inside, because then that gives more space for non-vaccinated and mixed vaccinations to sit downstairs. So once again, please show us evidence that you have it, and then we'll be happy, because again, we would argue with the police over that. But again, don't turn up. Expect that you can waltz in and stay. And I've been double vaccinated. Yes, please show me that you've been double vaccinated. We need proof from you, and then take the ump and go. You're quite happy to sit downstairs in the mixed area without any proof, but for upstairs, we need the proof. And again, I've been told I've got to bang that rhetoric out, all right, because people are just not listening at the moment. And I'm afraid to say it is our few British tourists that are the ones that are at fault, mainly getting the ump, all right? We know we're all here on holiday. We know we want you to enjoy yourselves, but unfortunately, we don't want the legal recompense through your behaviour, all right? Okay, and finally, the Port Authority announced car accidents on the main road. Just be aware, the main road down in town along the seafront, you'd be surprised at the amount of accidents that go on down there. Now, interestingly, they've released this information, but they've not given us any dates or times when these accidents have occurred. But please be aware, there was a car accident in the afternoon, as they say, on the main road on the seafront. A two-wheeled vehicle, obviously a scooter, collided with a car, which was being driven by a 53-year-old foreigner. The 32-year-old was taken to hospital, where he is still remaining there for treatment at the moment. But it was also found that the 32-year-old's bike that he was on, the plates, he had no license plate, all right? So God knows how that's going to play out for insurance, all right? So be aware of the crazy people on scooters and bikes rushing about down there on that road. And also as well, there was a car accident again on that same stretch of road along the seafront. This time it was, again, riders on a two-wheeled vehicle. Somehow they fell off it, and that could be the road condition along that road. That road can be very, very slippery in parts, and your bike will just go wee, and it's done it to me, trust me. So once again, a 28-year-old foreigner and a passenger as well, they were thrown off their bike while driving along that section of the road. The police are obviously investigating it. So once again, please, you are given helmets when you hire a bike. And my advice to you, as nice as it might seem, not riding without a helmet on, sense of freedom, wind in the hair and all of that, that's great until you come off. So once again, please, please, please be very careful. And those people with quad bikes, please be extra careful. Quad bikes, because they got four wheels, does not mean somehow they are a safer vehicle than the old two-wheel scooter, which focuses your mind with the two wheels. Right, that's it from me. I'm going to obviously get this posting up and out. Thanks again for your support. I'm hoping maybe tomorrow this suspension, ban or block, whatever you want to call it, might be lifted. I do miss the interaction of people tuning in when I'm broadcasting and leaving little comments about what's going on and about the news. To be honest, I hadn't even looked at how many people have watched on YouTube because that is now the only place you can see the broadcast. There will be a link going into Facebook, etc., Twitter, and those locations. Oh, and LinkedIn as well, so that you can obviously watch the broadcast from those mediums as well, but being directed obviously to Facebook. Right, that's it from me. I will keep my ear to the ground, and if I hear of anything, I'll let you know. Ta-ra.